Hello, my name is Nikki Kumar, and I'm going to tell you how I draw my bases for my mandalas. So first we'll go over which supplies you should use. I like to use a compass because it makes my circles perfect. My mandalas would not look very good if I didn't use a compass. You'll need a pencil and a ruler, and of course an eraser just in case you make a mistake. I also use bristleboard paper because it's nice and thick and very smooth for my pen when I actually lay down the mandala. So you find the center of the page and make a small circle in the center. Here I'm leaving my paper stationary and turning the compass, but I actually prefer to leave my compass stationary and turn the paper. I find it easier to make the circle. The little sharp part from the compass doesn't leave the little indent that you've made as easily. So I like to make a couple of small circles, one right next to the first one, and then open up the compass a little wider and make your next circle a little farther away. I have tried lots and lots of different ways, and you can do them many ways. I like to do my circles in pairs for some reason. That's just kind of what I've settled on over the last little while that I've been making mandalas. You can make them all close together, you can make them random, they could be all exactly even apart. It actually isn't going to make a better mandala or worse mandala either way. It's completely up to you. I tend to like to make about 5 or 6 sets of rings, so I guess 10 or 12 rings total. And I add rings sometimes in the midst of a mandala depending on if I want to make a pattern that I need to make sure is even in a different space. But this is a good place to start. And once again, they're not even. I just roughly, guesstimate how far apart I want them. And the last one. So now that we have our circles, voila! So now that we have our circles, we need to make even pie shapes. They don't have to be completely exact. It's not a science. This is art. But you do want them to be pretty close together. Pretty close to even. So I place my pencil inside the dot that I've made with the compass, and then line up the ruler up to the pencil. That makes sure that each line goes right through the center of the mandala each time. So I make my first 2 lines, and now I'm going to find the center of 2 of the big pie shapes. I do this by kind of guesstimating to see on the right hand side if the sides are even. If they look about right, I make my line. I have made a mistake before where it's very obvious that the pie shapes are not even. One's much larger than the other, and I'll go in and just erase the line and try again. So I line up the lines with the ruler to make sure that they're in line with that first mark that I put down, and it helps to make these even. So I'm checking to see if the sides of the pie shapes are the same size on the right hand side and they look about right. So I'm going to make my line, put my pencil in the center of the dot, and now once again line up my ruler, line up the lines on the ruler with the line that I just drew, and make sure that both sides are even, and make my line. And continue all the way around so that there's equal pie shapes all the way around. And now, depending on how detailed you want your mandala, you could stop here and make a nice simple mandala. But I tend to like to go a step further and divide these pie shapes in half once again. So I'll let you watch as I do that. So I think the most important thing to remember here is always putting your pencil in the center dot and putting your ruler up against the pencil lead and making your line from there. I didn't used to do this, and so my lines would sometimes not cross over the center, and that seemed to make the most noticeable negative effect on the end product of my mandala. Even if my pie shapes were a little bit off, it still looks okay. So there you have it, the base for the mandala. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this, please subscribe to my channel for more like this and other how-to videos of how to draw mandalas and doodle art. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.